Hello and welcome to the Side One YouTube channel. My name is Ray, and in this video, part 4 of an R2D2 build, we're going to assemble the outer shell of the left drive unit. So the original design for the Mark III R2D2 by Mr. Baddeley, and there's a link to his Patron where you can download all the files in the description, has this part printed as a single piece. Typically you would print it upside down, and it's it's around about 300mm long, a bit over 300mm long. Unfortunately my print bed is only 250 by 250, so it was never going to fit. There is, however, a set of split files which suit the likes of the Prusa printer, which has a 230mm print bed, I think it is, and in this case that's smaller than what mine is, so it'll fit on it. Now the good news is when they printed this, or split the file, they put little guide holes in. So we have small guide holes here, here, and another one over here, which you can put a piece of filament in, and they match up with guide holes on the other piece, and so you can stick them together. There's also guide holes on the other two bits, but we'll get back to them in a minute. Just need a little bit of room on my bench, and we'll put in our guides. So our guides are pieces of filament. Since I printed this in PETG, I'm using PETG, and they're approximately 25mm long each, these little offcuts. We simply push it into the hole, all three of them, and oops, I got a piece in the wrong hole. And now we can slide these together. That one's a little bit too long. That's better. And that's our outer shell for the left-hand drive unit. One of the changes I've made here, these little pieces, designed to have a 10mm diameter, 10mm thick magnet installed and glued in, and then these just get glued on the front here, like into these two locations. I wasn't real keen on using glue, not with the PETG, or if I'd done it in PLA with PLA. I haven't found a glue that lasts a really long time. So what I did was I found a couple of 20mm screws, and I drilled a hole through the center all the way through. This started out as a hole, but I drilled a 4mm hole all the way through. Then on the back side I dropped in some nuts, put a screw in to hold the nut in place, and filled it up with PETG from the 3D pen to hold those nuts in place. They were just hex nuts. Then I drilled out the center, and that way and countersunk it. I can drop a screw in, and using my screwdriver, I've now got that fitted pretty well, pretty solid, and it's not going anywhere. What's more, the magnet will stick to the head of the screw, because these are a zinc plated screw. I strongly recommended using zinc plated screws throughout the build. One, your magnets can stick to them, and two, it's easier with the screwdrivers if the tips are magnetised to get them into place. So let's glue this up. or weld this up I should say, and we can move on to the next part. So my 3D pen I've set for 230 degrees C. This one comes with provision for PLA or ABS. When using PETG, I choose the ABS setting and set it as high as I can go. Seems to work quite well. Now that we're up to temperature, now when you're doing a weld on anything of any size, it always pays to do a tack first. So I've tacked the top and fairly low down, so that's not coming apart. Now I've got this one to glue up. This one will be a hidden joint, that is, there is a cover that goes over it, so hide that joint in the future, but not at the very top. So I'm just going to be careful with this. Most annoying when you run out of filament. Now this weld is only for strength. It's not going to be visible, but we will do it properly anyway. Now, because it is for strength, I might just do the underside. Okay, so this has got most of my welding done. There's a little crack just here where I've missed. Very hard to get into the grooves there. A little one down in that corner there. I'm not going to worry about those. I will be sanding this back, and I'll probably end up using a little bit of spray putty, and I'll get that out then. I just noticed there's a little bit of support material stuck in this hole still. And we will have to glue in some magnets into these two holes. These are 10mm magnets, 10mm thick or thereabouts, and they look like these. Actually, these are 5mm thick. Five by 10mm. And they fit in there quite nicely. That hole needs clamp. I know that's it. So I can glue those in there. Glues that are known to work, some two-part epoxies will work. CA glue will work, also known as super glue. CA glue is an interesting one. It will hold one hell of a lot of tension on it, but if it gets tapped, it will break straight away. So it's not always the best solution. These two holes are for countersunk screws, and these go into the side of the drive unit. And we've already fitted the nuts, the square nuts, into the drive unit in the previous video. On the other side, same story, and again same M12 nut screw to hold those in. This one, you can see here we've got our magnet just showing through here. So once we've glued that, this needs sanding, a little bit of finishing work done on it. I'll have to use like a spray putty to fill in any of the grooves and holes. I have seen better print jobs. It's very hard to tell with this, but you can see that the finish is not perfect, particularly in the bottom there. So I am going to have to use spray putty and then sand back and give this a nice coat of paint when I'm finished. These two magnets here do need to be hidden, and they're hidden behind this panel here. Now again, too big to fit on my print bed, so printed as two parts. You can see the two pins I've installed, they're just PETG offcuts, and those two line up and it goes together. So we'll weld that up as well, and that'll give me something to clean up. Now I'm going to do the top side. Actually, I'll do the bottom side. Oh no, top side first. So just check and make sure our edges are nice and clean. If there's any raised edges, it will hold the parts, two pieces apart, and will cause an issue. You can use either sandpaper or a file, just to make sure they're smooth. It doesn't matter if the edges are filled as a Dover, because we'll be filling it. That looks better. Okay, so that's that side cover done. Now it gets two magnets installed in this as well. Make sure your polarity matches what you put in the other half, because these do need to hold together with the magnets. So that's two of my major welds done. So that will fit in like so and hide those two screw holes. This will need sanding and then spray putty and then painting. Alright, so I think the next part we need to worry about for our drive covers are going to be these pieces. Let me just get rid of some of this extruded PETG, sorry. And what we might do is actually screw them into place. Just move this out of the way. So we have these two pieces and they fit on like so and are attached with a screw through here into a nut, one through here, and it's just a hex nut on the other side. So what I'm going to do is drop this one in first. That's just a square nut. Put a screw in to hold it temporarily. This might be a 10mm long screw rather than a 12. It is. Having trouble getting that one to go in the hole. That's better. Alright, so that'll hold that in place. Secure that nut in. Now I've done this on 2 or 3 of the other videos, so I'm not going to go into too much detail and bore you about it. But all I'm doing is filling the hole up as much as I can with molten PETG, touch the sides of the hole so that it melts a little bit and forms a solid bond, flatten it down as best I can. That'll hold the nut in place, it's not going to move anywhere. Once it's had a chance to cool down a bit, we can remove that screw. I've already done this one, so we might even fit this piece on. It'll make it easier for welding it. You don't need those. Let's try these ones. No, that's too long. So this screw is 16mm long, and I'm using a hex head, hex nut. And that's just to hold it in place. I'm not sure why this wasn't pulled in one piece. This should have cooled down enough now. Now, it's got provision for 2 holes here, but only really one on this side here. The other one is in a void, so I'm only going to bother with the one. Poke that in and put our screw in over here. Now if you've got a stubby Phillips screwdriver, that would be ideal for that screw. I don't have one on hand, so I'm just using a very small flathead. This joint is mostly hidden all the time, but let's do it properly anyway. Now these silicone mats are really good. I got it for soldering work, but this lip here allows me to push the part up against it. Using the same hand I'm using the tool with, I can push against it to try and close up that gap. Now I could weld these joints here, but there are screws holding them, so I think I might leave them for now. There's 4 nuts, one here, here, here and here. Again, they're square nuts, they slide in from the side, and I've already welded over those to stop the nuts from coming out. Truth be known, I only really need 3 of them in there because the 4th one is actually inaccessible to do the screw up past the tyre on the main drive wheel. But that'll do for this one. I will get some epoxy, mix up and install those magnets in there. I've got more magnets in my storage box, and I'll put them in the cover that fits over here, and that will allow this to fit on here. So I'm covering the structural part of the build at this stage, and we'll go back through and do all of the detailing. That's the sanding up, the spray painting, and making it look like it's a real part. So I'm just going to put this piece out of the way for now. This does sit over the hub. Actually, if I grab the hub I can show you. So this is the drive unit. And this sits straight over the top. Make sure you poke your wires up. Okay. And on the other side, these are 20mm long handhead M4 screws. Right down the bottom here, again another 20mm long. I managed to get that one jammed in there. And our third one. I think I might get my longest screwdriver. That's all our top cover done. Still got to glue in my magnets wherever they've gone. Now the next part of this build is the battery cover. So I've already dropped flat square nuts into slots down through here, put my screws in and filled it up with PETG plastic from the 3D pen. And there's a slot normally from there. I've dropped that in and put my screw in from there as well. So this clips onto the side of the drive and hides all the workings. From the bottom side we have these 2 holes on this top cover or front cover. That slips onto there like so, and we've got this seam here that we can now weld. So we're going to do a couple of spot welds first. That way it'll start out in the right position. So hold that up hard, bury the tip in as deep as we can get it, and then extrude out some form. Now I have been asked about my tools I use for this. These are just a set of 4 tweezers. Bought a pack, came with different types of tweezers. They're just steel, coated silver, and they're cheap. They're less than $5 Australian each. But they are great for this job, and that's all we need. Okay, so I'm going to do a little bit over on this side, just to hold this cover in place. In as far as we can get it, and then extrude out, fill up the hole we made. And then flatten it down and make it smooth. Now this particular one went out flat too, rather large heads. With a pair of pliers I just bend them over so that I can push down like so while I'm working. So modified to suit what I needed. And two just here. That should stop it from moving while we weld. Might just do one more tack. Now we'll do this outside edge. Again. Okay, it's warm. So that's all that. All welded. It does need, when it's cooled down, sanding or filing to bring it back to flush and smooth, and then we can spray putty, sand back, get rid of any imperfections, and give it a paint job. I've got some pretty bad voids here from the print process. Hard to see in the lighting, but I can fix that up with spray putty, so I'm not that concerned about it. It's also on the inside, so it's going to be hard to see it. Okay, so these holes here, which are the bottom, have got threads in them that were 3D printed into them. That matches this pair, and they just screw in. So you'll find these in amongst all the greebles, and again, the 10mm diameter 5mm deep magnets get epoxied into those. There are two, this is still extruding. I'll come back and have a look at that. I might have a stuck button. Alright. There are a number of greebles associated with this. So the greebles have the band straps parts that go into here. I don't want to fit those until after this is painted and I've got those greeble parts painted. There are parts that clip over onto these, which have magnets in them to hold them in place, and they hold the cables that go from the battery box onto the drive unit. And match up with these two on the end there. So with this, take these screws out first, grab your ankle. Remember, this is the outer side, that's the front, so that slips on like so. The pin goes into this hole here, all the way through, and that allows your ankle to move as required. There is, floating around, and I haven't found the STL file yet, a brace part which will stop these from moving, so you can block it in there and it'll hold it either straight or, depending on how it's installed, hold it on the angle. You'll see there's a hole here, that's where our cable goes down. It then goes down through this hole here and the wire comes out here, so you can feed your power cable down. In fact, I might even do that now. My wire. Out bottom, feeds through the hole. We can then put our ankle back on. We can then hook up our wires, red to brown, black to blue. Alright, once they're all hooked up, I might yet put a small screw down or some double sided tape to hold that into place. We can then put our battery box on. The battery box lines up with that little notch. And there are two holes in the bottom down here that line up, and we drop our screws into those. That is our foot assembled. I'll find those magnets, I'll glue them into place, that'll hold those in place. Glue magnets in both of these, and so all four of these essentially. Once the magnets are in those, we'll be all good. We'll be able to make up the hoses and put those into place. So that'll do for this video. If you like these videos, don't forget to click on like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. It's a form of support that helps the channel a great deal and costs you absolutely nothing. If you'd like to support the channel further, I do have a Patreon account, and you can join my supporters, VIP, GoLucky and Coburnicus, All Access Patron Jeff Jerde, my Builder Patrons Morales 45, Andrew Cardone, Airgar69, Stefan Papst, James Kelly, Guy Daumerie, and my YouTube member Magdy Salib in helping to support the channel. If you've got any questions, feel free to leave a comment below or drop into my Discord and you can leave your question in there. I have got a channel specifically for R2D2, and if I can't answer your question, someone else might be able to. And we'll see you in the next video.